G'day team, Matty231 here with another video today on the E63. We are doing some work finally underneath the car, so we're breaking into the mechanical side of things. Just some basic service items in this video. We're going to be doing the fuel injectors, the transmission mount, the transmission fluid, and just a few other little bits and pieces as well. But first we're going to start with giving the car a quick clean after I got it home. Getting some little things tidied up like the number plate frames, getting some of the stickers off, and yeah, getting this thing put back together nicely. I will give you a teaser. We also have some cool videos coming up as well with the E63 where we have done some work on the front end, giving it a facelift, so that video will drop pretty quickly in succession to this one. And yeah, and following that I'm keen to put together a slightly longer video comparing not only the 211 E55 but all three of the 4i E-Class Legend AMGs, aside from the 212 E63 that is, but all the circle round eye E63s and E55s, we're going to get those on video, so stay tuned, enjoy this one, and let's kick it off. So I found a website, team, so that the keyless go on this car doesn't work. So there's a button on the back of the door handle, which I never knew. I always thought it was some other sort of sensor. So you pull the handle and it like unlocks as you pull it. So it's quite an interesting mechanism, obviously very old school. We've got the button on the front there for the locking, but none of that works. The boot, however, does work, so you can unlock and open the boot without having the car unlocked, so it obviously is registering the key for the boot, so that's good. But, oh, that's cool. Okay, so you can actually lock it. Ah, interesting. So if we close that door, I'm going to assume you can lock the car and unlock it from... Ah, that's cool. Okay. So the car's locked, I can unlock it and open it with one pull of the handle. Cool. And close it again. The lights flash to indicate it's locked. Cool. Now I want to unlock the car, I can push the button. Oh no, so that only locks it. Okay. So if I pull it, the car's still locked. If I push it now with the boot open, no, it's still locked. Interesting. Okay. So basically, you arrive at a hotel, or you arrive and it's pissing rain, you get your umbrella out of the boot, you close the boot and you push the button to lock it. So that means you don't have to come back and push it here, nor do you have to reach into your pocket. Okay, interesting. I've never seen that sort of configuration before. Usually it's, yeah, anyway. So all the keyless go handles are broken. I found a rebuild kit you can buy from Poland. I love these seats, they're so comfortable. There's a rebuild kit you can buy from Poland, and I think it was like $280 US for 3, or 350 for 4, so it's getting expensive, but I don't know. I guess we could pull a door handle off, it's easy enough to do, and just inspect the configuration of it and see how easy it would be to disassemble and fix. But part of me feels like if they're all broken, there must be something. We should actually scan it as well, because there could be something else going on that's not necessarily the handles. So before we do anything on that, we might actually scan it. But anyway, let's I love the push. Let's nice and cold engine and cold start in the shed. A little bit of a rough cold start, a little bit shaky. I basically want to get the fuel injectors replaced. I think they're fine, but I want to get them replaced preventatively, and I've already got them in the box over there, so they're ready to go. But yeah, there's some other stuff we want to replace on the car as well, just to make sure it's all good to go. But yeah, like definitely within the next 12 months, we'll be doing all the spark plugs, all the coils, PCV, breather, you name it, we'll be doing all of that as well. Cool. Polar blast. We'll just see what comes off the car. because it really does. When I picked it up, you know, it was mint, so it's basically been untouched since we picked it up. And I'm actually keen to get these exhausts tidy up as well. They're pretty filthy, but I've seen way worse, so we should be okay. We'll also use, team, a bit of, I'm not sure whether we use it now or later, a bit of the magma, autoglym magma. I find it works really well at getting some of the sort of grit in between these parts cleaned off. So I'll spray that first. Then I'll put the Polar Blast on. And yeah, just spray all of these pieces with it down here. That's sort of like where pieces meet, and you'll find it runs a lot of crap out, a lot of gunk out of all the little gaps. Even on the mirrors here too, and we'll give the mirror lenses a bit of a polish by hand. Just clean all them up. So this, team's the stuff I use on the tyres. It's for the actual rubber. It removes that sort of browny, sort of yucky staining look. So you just spray that on and use a brush and some water to remove it. So we'll do that last. But as you can see, I've coated the car in the Polar Blast, and some of it's running off the front pretty quick, but you want it to sort of sit for a little bit and not just run straight off, otherwise it can't really do its job. So I've learnt. So yeah, it's already sort of coming off. So I don't like doing it in direct sun, but there is a bit of direct sun at the moment, so I won't let it bake on there for too long. You'll see the little streaks of purple where that magma was. So that's all of the dissolving, I think it's iron and stuff that's coming off the wheels, off the parts. And I've also got the dragon's breath on the tyres, on the rims, and it's doing its job as well. So we'll give the car a full spray down. Let's keep cleaning. Sorry team, but I'm literally just in love with this colour, with this car. Just an amazing paint. Mike's not wrong when he said when you get it down into the sunlight, and the camera's probably not doing it justice, but if you're just hearing my perspective, it's just an incredible paint job. Like, just such a nice paint job, like just perfect, like perfection. What I find interesting is I think the car's been ceramic coated already, because the paint's very smooth. The glass has no water spotting. It is like flippin' mint. It's like a mirror, and it's just got such a deep glossy look to it. It could just be the color, but yeah, it's honestly mental. It's such a nice colour. I'm just so over the moon that I bought this. When I do look up close, there are some imperfections. I feel like a little bit of the car has been painted before, but I don't care. It's like literally mint in my eyes for an old European car. It really is mint. I see. I've just spotted these little cracks here, team. So that'll be going on our list of things to buy. Just that little rear quarter. When I was at Pick Apart last week, actually, I was looking at this whole piece. What we'll do, we'll go to Pick Apart later this week, or in the weekend, and I'll see if I can actually take this off one of the cars there. So what we're going to do now is get it inside. put some nice black plate frames on it, get rid of some of the extra stickers on here that we don't need anymore, and put an AMG. I've still got my AMG Meister stickers. I'll chuck one of those on with that AMG rego holder and try and do the front plate frame here if I can, and we'll just take this plastic off and clean it up a little bit and reseat it. So we've got our rego holder and new sticker to go on, so we'll do that in a sec. One thing that's annoying I've realised with this car, sorry, not annoying, but that I've forgotten, is I've ran out of the plate frame stickers because I just make my own ones. But I've taken this plate off and I've got a bit of this Play Dead plastic rubber restorer, so you like sort of generously wipe it on and then you can sort of buff it off later, and it basically restores it to a blacker look. You can even see the difference where the plate's been, and that's where the sun's been on it. It's a shame you can't have it without the plate on, because they look cool with no front plate. It'd be cool to side mount it even. But yeah, in the back, as I say, I've got stickers, but I can't find them right now with my AMG sticker that goes on the plate there. Someone's obviously polished the car and there's a lot of residue left over. I've cleaned it around the badge here. This badge doesn't fit perfectly, so I'm probably going to end up buying a new badge for it. And someone's also reinstalled the AMG badge at some point slightly incorrectly, but it took me this long to notice it, so they did a good enough job. Yeah, I'll also get around to trying to blacken up these badges a bit. I'll probably get that same Play Dead stuff, and I'll just experiment on one now and just sort of lightly sort of dab it into the gaps here and then buff it off and see if we can darken it up, because it's a little bit faded. And I got a quote for some new badges, so these badges are around $100 each a piece, which isn't too bad, but I'd rather not waste money on stuff like that. A lot more important things to buy. For example, I've ordered a brand new genuine left front wheel arch liner, because this one's lost its original sort of soft rubber edging around the side there, and it's just, you know, it's got to be perfect. And I've got the new grill over there, which I'll put on soon. And this grill's pretty munted, like it's peeling, which is a thing I've never seen before. And even this badge is being like polished back to chrome. It should have a blue ring around it, just like if you look at the 221 here, it should have that nice sort of blue paint around it. So someone's given it a good polish. But yeah, so let's continue. I'm also going to quickly right now polish up the hood ornament. I've got a brand new one, team. I've got a brand new one of these here ready to go on, but I always like to let the car have its original, you look at that, beautiful, have its original ornament, providing it still works properly, obviously. These are about $120 each from FCP Euro. They're around, I think they're around $90, so they're quite expensive pieces. But I've ended up having brand new ones on the shelf and sold them to people, so I'm happy to buy them even if I don't use them, because I'll just sell them onwards. I've also got a collection of these brand new. So these are the little caps that go on the glove box inside there, and they often lose their sort of soft coating over time. And I've actually got about 3 brand new ones. So if you do want to buy one for your E55 or W211, go to Matty231.com. You can buy it on there.
look, if you don't live in New Zealand, just go to your dealer and buy it. It'll be cheaper. But if you live in New Zealand, I've got them, and they look so much better. I've done it in the E55, replaced it, and it looks so good. So yeah, let me go to town quickly on this badge, because it's actually still in good nick. It's not wobbling down here or coming loose. It's still pretty bloody good, so we'll give it a polish. Right team, so brand spanking. This car just keeps blowing me away, because I can guarantee you right now that this is not the genuine, this is not the original hood ornament. It's literally mint. It's like a brand new one. I'm going to put money on that this has been replaced, or miraculously it's been just polished throughout its whole life and looked well after, because they do not stay like that. The 221 was also looking at me, giving me the evils, because I haven't given it the same treatment, so I just did the E600's front badge as well. If I show you an old badge team, here we go. This is from my E550, from my 211 E550, and you'll see this one hasn't been polished in years, but you can still see the sort of pitting. Just see there by on the inner piece here, you can see that pitting on it. They over time, I suppose it's pitting or oxidation, they start to sort of go funky, and that one's, you could put that one pretty much in that box and sell it brand new. It looks, it's mint, so it's either been done, the car's been obviously stored a lot in the last few years and hasn't been driven a hell of a lot, so, but yeah, anyway, that's cool, that's good. So I've got a spare badge, I don't need it on this one. This stuff here is polishing up nicely. It's obviously had a Euro plate at some point, which you'd expect, which is the plates that's longer European style plates, which you can have here in New Zealand if you want. I've never ever had a car with one, and to be honest, I don't really like them as much as I used to. But anyway, team, you see I clean this off, and it really darkens up and improves the look of this cover. So I'll just do it off camera and put it back onto the car with the plate frame if we can. And yeah, so that's looking good. What was I going to say? But yeah, what I probably will do with this car is, in the last few years, New Zealand's adopted different colours of plate. So I could get this black and white plate turned into a black and dark silver, or a black and silver plate, which would perfectly match this colour of car. I don't usually like that look. I think it looks a bit cheesy and tacky, but it would actually look sick on this, I think. So yeah, think of the white being turned to black and the black being turned to like a silvery white. I think that would actually look quite good. We also have a smaller plate you can get, so a smaller version of this. So, you know, if you could get it and mount it somewhere, I just don't, like on the side, I just don't think it would probably work though. And because of the pointiness of the nose, I guess you could put on the grill down there, but then you're blocking your airflow. So I think we'll stick with this style here, but in the more murdered out sort of plate look. And if we can find a new one of these, team, just without these gaudy holes, that'd be good. But, you know, that's all stuff I'll worry about later. It's not for worrying about right now. Right, team, I'm just waiting for some of the front number plate bolts. I've just painted them in black, just waiting for them to dry. So I've taken off the cap for this here, which often changes colour and deteriorates over time. You can also see some imperfections on here. We'll take this out and clean it. I can't remember the exact way to do that, but I'll figure that out shortly without breaking it off. But yeah, so we've got this brand new part here, genuine Mercedes part, 2016. So it's sat in this package for 9 years waiting for its day to shine. So here's the new one, team. Beautiful. Beautiful. Interesting, this one's got a timestamp of 10 on it, like the frame of it was made in 2010. Anyway, so yeah, you just fit it on like that, and then it should sort of press into place.
course it's been more difficult than you'd expect. There we go. There we go. Yeah, installed. I will say one thing though, team, it's a bit of a different colour. Interesting. It's like a different shade of grey. Right, team, so I got my nice new AMG rego holders installed. Cleaned up the windscreen of most of the stickers, apart from the WAF sticker. Yeah, as I say, we've put our new little glove box cap. It looks a bit funky, to be honest, but anyway, it's all good. And yeah, so we'll continue. I'm just getting the license plate holder AMG stickers done, so I'll have those tomorrow. So we'll chuck those on in a sec. And yeah, I really do think the silver and black plates will look cool. So anyway. Looks pretty cool too. Let's see what it looks like on the front of the car. The logo's a little bit bigger than I probably want, but it still looks cool. Right, team, so it actually looks pretty good. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, awesome, happy as. It's actually a good size. It's not too big, but it's also like still noticeable, you know, where you can see the AMG logo. Whereas if you look on like the S-Class, I've got the smaller, old style. It's a little bit more subtle. So let's put it on the back, and I've already got the back frame on, so I'll try and install the sticker in situ. So let's try and install it on this. I think it'll look good. It looks pretty sick to me. Maybe on the back it's just slightly bigger than I probably want, but at least it says in your face like fuck off AMG. But no, that's cool. I like it. It's all good. So yeah, that brings that to an end, team. I ordered some AMG Meister stickers before I went to Europe, and they've never shown up, so I don't have one to put on the windscreen here. That just doesn't matter. That's my own personal like thing. Interesting. If you look up there, team, there's something happening with that light sensor that's not normal. See, this is what it's supposed to look like, and this one's got some weird cloudy, I don't know what that is. It's like it's been glued on or something. That's not right. And we do have a fault with the windscreen wipers not working automatically, so something's wrong there. Okay, that's fine. I've had these also baking in some plastic restorers, so I'll give them a good buff. They're a little bit shiny at the moment. I'll give them a buff and clean. But anyway, now we're on to the fun part. We're getting the gearbox fluid changed. So it's Friday night now. I'm just going to drop this off the hoist, chuck the 211 on, and then first thing in the morning we'll come out and we'll get our Top Tech 1800 ready to go in. And also I had something else to do. What was it? We'll do our power steering, which will need a new CHF11S, so we'll get that fluid out. And yeah, cool. So I've also got a brand new filter kit here somewhere for it. I think it's this sucker here. So we'll pull this filter kit out, and that will be our new oil filter. I've got two of them on the shelf. A new oil filter for the transmission,
And I've also got some bolts as well, because we want to replace those pan bolts. I believe those are brand new. I've only got 5. No, I've got 6. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, no, we got 6. Cool. Thank God for that. Chuck those back up there. The 722.6 filter is just a little bit smaller, and I don't know what that is. I think that's just the filter for the 722.6. This one is the, oh, that's an air filter, my bad. And that's a 722.9 filter. It's a little bit bigger. Cool, so we'll take this stuff over. I also need to do the fuel injectors as well. So we'll just see how we go, team. We'll just start with the transmission and go from there. That's the main thing I wanted to do though. I think it's a nice spring morning for once. It's not raining. So yeah, let's get on to doing the transmission fluid. So I'll take all these pans off. There's 3 pans. We're going to do the power steering as well. So we'll take all the pans off and yeah, we'll have a quick look underneath and see what's happening. But basically, this is the sucker we're getting at. And yeah, if I haven't mentioned already, it has a little bit of a sort of, it feels like a bit of a torque converter lockup sort of shutter when it's very cold, and also sort of when it's warm, but it's not too bad. And also just a sort of funny, like sort of shuttery feel when you pull away sometimes. And I'm extremely sensitive, like most people just wouldn't even know any of this is happening, but I can feel it. So I'm hoping if we give it a good flush, that'll be our saviour. But, you know, in reality, that's probably not going to be the case. But let's see how we go. At the end of the day, it can't hurt giving it a fresh transmission fluid flush. The sticker I pulled off the dashboard actually alluded to that it was serviced in 2019 at like 100,000 Ks, the transmission, its last flush. So it's good that it's been done before. That's good. But you know, that's 6 years ago now, so that fluid's had a little bit of time to degrade, and it was unlikely to be a full flush, so this will be well needed. What we're going to do is we'll just do a quick walk around the car, team, as well, so you can see what's going on underneath. So let's get into it. So team, we've got the pans off. We've got some non-original screws holding some of the pans in. I believe this is a screw, a Mercedes screw, but I can't recall where it would be from. So we've got quite a few of these, both brand new and second hand. So we'll replace those with the original, so it's all nice and proper. But they did a good job, at least. It was a good option instead of using the genuine ones if they don't have them. So yeah, oh, I forgot to take this bastard off. Damn it. Yeah, 1, 2 there. I've just missed a couple. Let me grab those quickly. Right, there we go. That's better. So yeah, we've got our oil cooler up the front here. Our AMG oil cooler. Interesting, it's sort of mounted on a slant, which is interesting on this 211. So there's the back of it there. There's your little side vents. I imagine that's somewhat useful. I imagine when the air comes around the front of the bumper here, it creates a low pressure zone. So it probably sucks, it draws air out through these vents when the air comes around the front. Yeah, because you'll have air go through there, through those electric fans. You can see through the grill there, and then through the radiator, which is on a slant, and then yeah, and then I imagine we have, like the 211, like the E55. Sorry, we also have a secondary oil cooler. It's a different design. It looks like it's plastic. Interesting. So our secondary oil cooler comes out the back here, and then it snakes back up through here. There's the oil line there. Yeah, and where does it go? It goes up the side, up to the top of the engine, into the block. Interesting. Okay, so that's a different design. Yeah, different design. There's our secondary air injection pump, which is pretty much the same mounting. There's our air compressor. I've bought a new air compressor filter, but this actually has been replaced from what I can tell on the previous owner's service records. He's also replaced the sway bar, which is cool. So that was a new sway bar installed a while ago, 5 or 6 years ago. The only thing I couldn't see though was the actual sway bar, the sway bar brackets, which you're supposed to replace at the same time. But that's fine. I've got actually those brand new on the shelf if I need them at some point. And then yeah, new engine mounts, but I'm going to assume that they are getting a bit saggy after 6 years. Yeah, I'll have to see what year the radiator is, if it's the original radiator or not. But overall, a lot of this looks tidy. That bolt's a bit rusty, which is interesting. But yeah, a lot of this looks very tidy and original, 2006. What's this pump? Is it 2006? I can't tell just off of that. I need some date stamps. 0617. I'm going to assume that's the same, July 2006. Same with this 6. From this model, they really started to sort of split out parts with AMG badges on them. You don't really get it on the E55, but on the 156 E63, a lot more of the parts are now stamped with AMG on them, as you'd expect, obviously being a in-house engine. I've got a bit of a coolant sort of dried up on the bottom of the pan there, but that's fine, I think. That's not a problem. Everything looks good up there. The steering linkage bolts secure, which is good. How's that feel if I can get my hand up there? Nice, not too much play, that's good. Yeah, so we'll drain the torque converter, team, so we'll pull that cover off. From what I can tell, it looks like our drain bolt's just maybe weeping slightly. But yeah, we've definitely got a little bit of oil coming from the top, but nothing major. We'll do the rear main seal at some point. Micah, what are you doing? We'll do the rear main seal at some point. Trying to see what else I can see that's not right. It's a pretty straight car, guys. It's pretty bloody good. I'm pretty stoked with my purchase. But yeah, tyres are really good. I've just had the wheel alignment done down the line, so that's good. But yeah, the front tyres, what year are they? I actually couldn't tell on these. I think it's 3820, so I think they're from 2020. Usually there's a specific date stamp on them. 3820, is this the same? I imagine 3820, where is it? 3820, yeah, I'm going to assume they're from 2020, so they're already 5 years old. These ones are even older, they're from 5218, so they're 6, coming up 7 years old. And I don't know what brand they are, they're some, I've heard of them before, ATR Sport. What's the brand though? What's the brand? Achilles. Yeah, made in Indonesia. So they're getting low. And yeah, they're $800 a pop for brand new Michelin Pilot Sport 5s. So we will do those at some point. I'm going to put money on that this shock absorber's original still. It doesn't ride excellent. It's not as like solid as the E55, so I'm picking the shocks are done. They're not too hard to replace though at the end of the day. They're not leaking though. Oh, no, that one is leaking. You can just see. It's hard to get the bloody camera on the right angle. You can just see at the top there, it's a little bit dark right at the top. So I'm going to put money on that the shocks have possibly, they've possibly lost all of their fluid. I could be wrong though, but I'm picking that's the case because I can't see any receipts in the last 6 years at least for shock absorbers, so I'm going to put money on that, they're originals. So what we will do is replace those shock absorbers at some point soon, especially if we get new tyres and stuff. We don't want, oh yeah, no, those are pretty cooked. Yeah, no, those are pretty cooked. We don't want to have, you know, old shock absorbers with new tyres, because it'll eat them up faster. The flex discs have been replaced, which is interesting because there's receipts for them, but then I look at this and I think it looks very, yeah, that's a genuine one. Okay, so it's not that. And whoever's had it off at some point possibly hasn't matched up the paint marks. So there's this transmission mount. I've ordered a brand new one. I've ordered a genuine one. It's about $150, $160, which isn't too bad really. You know, you pay probably $60 or $80 for a aftermarket one. And from what I can just see straight away, team, at the back there, if you can see it on the camera, is the output shaft of the transmission's leaking a bit of oil. It's just a bit wet. You probably can't see it on the camera, I'm sorry, but just at the back of the bell housing there, yeah, we're not going to be able to see it there either. It is a little bit wet, so another reason for us to do the transmission out at some point in the next, you know, 3 to 6 months, and do the rear main seal plus the input and output shaft seals. But yeah, so this flex disc here has a bit of cracking and wear on it. It just doesn't, it's just interesting because it says it's been replaced, but I feel like, yes, and also you can see there where my light is, the flange is a bit rusty. And if you watch Tarsos's videos, he had one with the same thing, with a rusty flange, and you've got to be careful that the rust doesn't back down the input shaft too far to where it wears the seal out on the output shaft seal, in which this case this car already has. I'll see if I can get it on camera for you. You can probably just see behind that disc there, it's a bit wet, or it's shining. So I'm picking, because that flange does have surface rust on it already, it probably has eaten, you know, slowly moved its way back to where the seal is, and it's worn the seal out a bit, so now fluid just slightly sort of, you know, weeps out of it. So we'll pull that whole flange off, clean it up, and some rust remover, and then we'll etch primer it and spray it again and reinstall it. So that's not a major though, but we'll definitely need to replace the seal, which I have on the shelf as well, which is good, so we'll use those. Cool. Okay, we're going to do the diff oil. I'm not going to do that right now, I'll do that next weekend, so I just need to buy the right oil for it, which is 75-140. Yeah, and with the age of these cars now, I'm going to do it on the 211 as well, as it's about time to, sorry, I keep saying 211, the E55 211, it's about time. We'll probably next year order all brand new suspension for both cars, fully new lean forward suspension, because genuine is just horrendously expensive. It's gotten a lot more expensive in recent years, and replace all of this. Ideally with this car, team, we'll just end up buying new airbags and new rear shock absorbers with the ADS function, because these are original airbags, I imagine, most definitely, based on the fact that, well, I can see a date stamp of 06 there, but also the genuine airbags have a pipe that comes out the top where my light is. There's that pipe there, and it comes into this air expansion chamber here. And yeah, to do that you have to remove the subframe of the car, because you're not supposed to, in theory, pull the pipe off the expansion tank or off the airbag. You're supposed to just keep it all in one piece. So people have said on my previous video, if you watch it, like, oh, you don't have to do that, you're wasting time. But that's how the Mercedes WIS system shows you how to do it. and yeah, I just rather follow it by the book. But yeah, at the same time, like I say, we can do the brake lines, we can do the subframe mounts, which this car's still pretty new, but you know, why not? Subframe mounts, which will be a mongrel of a job. I hate doing those. Do our shock absorbers, do our sway bar links, do our sway bar bushings at the top, because the sway bar goes over the top right up there. So bushings are way up the top there. And just give it all a full refresh at the rear end on both cars. We'll clean the exhaust tips up as well, team, so we'll do that shortly. While we've got it on the hoist, we'll try and clean those up the best we can. They're not too bad actually, someone has at least tried to keep on top of them, so that's good. But yeah, let's start now by dumping the fluid out of the gearbox. So I'm going to capture the fluid straight into this, just so we can inspect it afterwards. And yeah, crank that off, and we'll slowly lower the pan down. And yeah, we'll just also pull some of these pieces off here. So there's a little bolt there where my light is that we need to just not undo, just loosen it. Then you need to undo this here, and it should be enough to pull this little heat shield out, down and out. And then, you know, I'm not going to get too fussed about these, but ideally we might need to pop these and move them out of the way. But the pan looks like there is a pretty clear space for it to come out, and saying that I might pull it anyway. Yeah, anyway, let's just get into it. Cool team, so we're pretty much nearly ready to drain the oil. So there's our torque converter in there. Perfect. So all we're doing is turning the crankshaft clockwise. So this way we're turning it like this until we see the drain bolt come out. So we've got a 27mm socket on the crankshaft pulley screw or bolt, and we're just moving it this way clockwise. It's so easy to get this on, like look at it, easy. When you look at the flipping M157, the M177, you know, the OM642, they're all covered in all these flipping plastic covers and everything else. Whereas this car, I put my arm up there, chuck it on, Bob's your uncle, we've got access on the crank pulley. So much easier. Yeah, so I'm just going to turn that round, team, until we've lined it up. Then we can drain the fluid out of it, and then we'll drain the fluid out of the, the transmission. Right team, so dropping out that transmission oil. It's actually extremely clean. Like extremely clean, like fresh clean. Which is really good to see, and it smells good as well. So it's still in very good condition, which is nice. My only question is what fluid is it? Is it the correct 722.9 fluid, which is 236.14 fluid? That's my only question. Like that's a red fluid, and that's fine. They can be red, they can be green, they can be like a yellow color. I think the stuff's yellow, but you want to make sure you've got 236.13 or 14. Yeah, is that right? 236.14, where is it? Yeah, 12.14. So this fluid here. Oh, that's good to see then. So if the transmission is making some shuddering, even with fresh fluid like that, then it just tells me that it's obviously in well need of probably a bit of a rebuild at some point. Yeah, so this stuff's yellow. So yeah, my only concern with red. Shut up! Fucking dog. My my only concern with red fluid like this is it just like a standard Dex3 fluid. You know, is it just a standard Dex3 fluid and it's not the correct rated fluid? You know, like these transmission shops obviously who replace the stuff, I'm sure they've got the right stuff and I'm not bagging any of it, but I'm just always nervous that they'll put the wrong fluid in. Take my E550 I used to have. These goddamn dogs. They just don't stop fucking barking. But yeah, take the E550 I had, which was a W211 E550. That had, before I did any mechanical work, I took it to a transmission flush shop and they just, in 2 hours, just said they gave it a flush and stuff, and I wouldn't say it improved the gearbox much in terms of feel. Then a couple of years later, I replaced it myself, the fluid and the transmission filter, and the original filter was still in the car, so they never replaced the filter, which, you know, maybe that's not what they do, I don't know. It was still a 17-year-old filter, so you think they would have done that or suggested it to me at least, because I would have happily paid for it. And yeah, so, you know, at the end of the day, team, this fluid is really good as gold. Like, there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just doing it anyway because we're going to push this car hard. So, and I expect it to perform. So if we need to dump some fluid out that's 4 years old but it hasn't really been used, then that is what it is. Just as if you were doing your engine oil every year. You don't drive it necessarily, but you still, you know, you still use the fluid in it. So I've got 9 litres of fluid, so I just do need to bear in mind how much I actually do drain out. So I might actually just chuck this bolt back in now, just in case. Just in case we don't have enough fluid. In saying that, I can always chuck a bit of the old Penrite in it, but yeah. So let's just see what we drain out of the gearbox first, and then if there's still fluid left, then I'll re-drain the rest of the torque converter, just so I'm not running out. And because the oil is so clean, but again, if it's the wrong rating, we don't really want to mix them, so we've got dilemmas both ways. Yep, still very clean, team, still red. Yeah, again, like, hats off to the previous owner before Mike, who I think did this. The oil is extremely clean. Let's just give the benefit of the doubt that it is the correct fluid and we're just replacing it anyway. Regardless, it's still 6 years old, right? So it can't hurt it giving it a flush, even though it feels like a waste because it's so clean. I've never seen a gearbox that has dropped out red clean fluid. It's always black or very dark. So I guess the big telltale for us, team, will be if what filters in here. If we've got a brand new filter in here, that'll give me a good indication of you know, what's the likelihood that this fluid is actually good fluid, and you know, B, how thorough was the last transmission fluid flush. Because, you know, you can obviously just dump it like this and refill it. So, yeah. Okay, so not actually much has come out. We've only drained about, I'd say, 4 litres. Yeah, 4.5 litres. So there's actually only a little bit to come out. So we probably will do the rest of the torque converter shortly. I'll just get the pan off and it can drain in the meantime. Right, team, so the transmission filter isn't original. Which is good. It's also not a branded one. I don't know what brand it is, but I can't see any brands on it at all. But it is pretty clean, like the filter element in there, even it's not all black and gunked up like they usually are. So again, that makes me believe it's definitely been replaced fully. The pan, the filter, the pan gasket and stuff. So I'm I'm just going to clean it really, just dry it off, team, put a new seal on, refit it again back into the engine. I'll keep draining some of the torque converter. In saying that, I might actually just leave it. What I might do is leave that. You know, we've drained 7 litres now, so yeah, I'll leave it there. And then what we'll do is come back to it another day and give it another full flush, just so we can like fully swap the system over to the new fluid, because obviously I don't know what that fluid is, and there'll still be at least a couple of litres, 3 litres or so in that, including the oil cooler as well will still be full of it, but at least it's clean fluid. That's good. So yeah, that only further leads me to believe there could be some underlying transmission wear that needs to be addressed at some point with a full rebuild, unless the fluid helps the sort of the shifting feel. But yeah, we'll refill it, put a new filter in, fill it up, clear the adaptions, so we'll let the transmission learn again, and then we will see if we notice an improvement. So we've got the pan ready. It's the new seal. Cleaned the magnets, which weren't too dirty. They had a bit on them, but not too dirty. Put the older version standpipe back in. The seal sits on here. You can, depending on the seal, this one doesn't do it, but there's holes here. They line up with those holes on the pan, but mine don't. If they do though, put them in there, because it just means it'll help keep the seal flat rather than sort of tilting outwards or inwards when you go and put it back on the engine. We've cleaned with brake cleaner the base of the sealing surface, and it's all magnesium zinc alloy, so it's a bit of a mongrel. I think we just need to be very careful when we drop the bolts on this pan, because this is sort of brittle, well, not brittle, but soft. You know, you can easily strip the hole out where your bolt goes, so we want to make sure that's very carefully done. Yeah, so we're good to go back in. One thing I've realized though, and luckily I already ordered them, is I stuffed up, I thought the bolts for the 722.6 fit on the 722.9, but they don't. The 722.9 bolts are longer. And yes, I could reuse these bolts, but they are one-time use bolts, and again, these do have a little bit of marks on them from when they were torqued up last time. You can clearly see the brightness difference. So I want to use proper fresh bolts. So I'm going to go and pick those up quickly from the dealer. And I'm also going to go and pick up from the dealer a new drain plug that I already ordered, which is good because, yeah, if I don't do that now, I'm going to have to do it later. You know, I'm going to have to go and pull these bolts off again and pull that bolt out and re-seal it. So I'm just going to go and get that done now. At the same time, I'll also actually get a new Airmatic filter there. So we'll have a look at those. And yeah, so I'm just going to go and get a few parts for this car. The one thing that hasn't arrived yet, that will be a little while still, is this new cover shield here. But that's fine. I don't need that right now. So yeah, we'll go grab those quickly and we'll be back in a second. Right team, so we're just heading to the dealership in the old 210. It's about a 40-minute drive each way, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, but that's alright. But yeah, this car needs a run. It hasn't been driven in a few weeks, so we'll get on our way now. And yeah, she still goes really well. Can't sell her, no one wants to buy it. I don't know why. I guess it's too expensive, but it's such a good driving old car. Right team, so we just picked up the parts from the dealership. You saw that nice SLR McLaren, really special. They have some cool cars there sometimes. But yeah, so what we've picked up basically is our transmission mount. So I've actually managed to grab that. I've grabbed a brand new carbon cabin air filter. So that's easy to install, it takes 2 minutes. We've also got new torque converter drain bolts. I've got 2 of those, one is a spare, and also my 6 bolts for the transmission pan, and also the aromatic filter as well. So I've got quite a few parts that we've got, but yeah, cabin air filter is easy. I won't video putting that in, that's pretty straightforward. Although in saying that, it's still useful to see it so you guys can see how easy it is to do. Jesus, oh, that was close. This flipping monkey here nearly bloody rear into the back of my fucking car. No, he apologised, it's good. Gave me a heart attack. Jesus, that was close. That's why I always look in the rear view mirror when I pull up at a stoplight, because I'm always scared someone's not going to pay attention. And I've done that plenty of times before when I'm not paying proper attention and I'm like, oh shit, you hit the brakes. So I always am like prepared, and I always leave room in front of me. So, you know, you might do that already, but if you don't, always give yourself like a good car's length of room in front of you, so that if someone's coming up behind you fast, you can move out of the way. And unfortunately, it puts the person in front of you at risk, but they should also be paying attention, really. So I'm always making sure I'm ready to move out of the way. But luckily, this guy in this Mazda, he obviously saw me just at the last minute, because I saw his bumper go, the front of his car go down, and then when he drove past, he's like, sorry. Jeez. Anyway, we all make mistakes, but yeah, we don't want to make mistakes and have the rear end of a nice W211 E63 smashed to bits and written off. So, God, what's going on here? This is why I don't drive into the city. People partner over on the side of the road, broken down. Jeez. Anyway, let's get home and get this job finished. Cool. Team, we're back home. You've just seen me put the pan back on. So to torque the pan bolts on this, it's a bit different to the 722.6. Instead of torquing them to 9 Newton meters, we torque them to 4 Newton meters, and then we do a second stage of 180 degrees. So 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, and then another stage of 180, 180, 180, 180. I've only done about 90 degrees. I think it's already tight enough. And because this is soft metal, I don't want to go and over torque. 180 feels like way too much. It's on there solid, so I'm not going to stuff around with it. It's fine as it is. So that's good to go. I've also got, so those are the old bolts there. I've also got, here they are. Here's our air filter for the aromatic, and there's our torque converter bolts. So you're supposed to replace these every time. And in terms of torque, let's just see what those are right now. The drain screw bolt team is 22 Newton meters, but we're not going to do that up because we still have to go through the process of filling the gearbox up first, so I'm not going to worry about that, but it's 22 Newton meters. So guys, we've got the transmission sitting on a block of wood. Spread the load over the block of wood and just ever so slightly lift it off the base of the cross member, so you can then undo these 15mm nuts, bolts, and pull the mount out. And we want to chuck the new one in pretty quick. We don't really want it to be sitting on this with all the weight on it, especially when we've just replaced the pan. Like, if you're going to do that, ideally do it before you remove the pan. But that's fine, it'll be right. I've done it enough times like that. So here's I really don't understand this, to be honest. So this is the new mount, and this is the original mount. So they are different heights. This one is definitely older. But to be honest, like, if if anything, well, I suppose it would be a bit stiffer, but this one feels a bit stiffer. This one's a bit more malleable, fresher rubber. I really don't think this was manufactured in 2006, right? Okay, this one's manufactured in 2022, so there's literally like 16 years between them. And this one's still actually really good. So either this has been replaced, you know, say at 80,000 Ks, and this was just a very old stock piece of equipment that was sitting on the shelf for years and never used. But even the date stamps line up like it looks like it was in early 2006, so I don't know. Yeah, oh, don't do that. So here's the new one. It's a W212 AMG mount. Obviously it's the same application, M156 with a 7G on it, but I think there was the MCT on these ones on the 212, which has rev matching and stuff, so that would be really cool. Anyway, what we're going to do is chuck this straight back in, team, and torque it down, and I'll report on the torque values in a sec. I'll just clean this up and we'll chuck it straight back in. So I've got some oil here for the rear diff. 235.15 is apparently the right fluid, and it says 7585, which is weird because some other websites have told me it's 75-140. So anyway, this is the genuine stuff, so it has to be right. So I've cracked off that bolt there, and also cracked off the drain bolt. Just make sure they both work, and I've also just marked a little blue mark where the bolt lines up, so when I do it up again I'll just do it literally to that torque, same position. But yeah, we'll drop about a litre out and refill it from the top as well. So I'll use my suction tool to vac out as much of this as I can, because this won't have any form of even though it's the most expensive oil you can buy, obviously being genuine, it doesn't have, it stinks, it doesn't have they don't give you anything to put it in with, so we'll have to use the old suckety tool down here. Cool. So draining the torque converter is easy, which we've already done, and then to put the new screw in, the M8 screw, which I believe I have, is a 722.9, so it's 10 Newton meters for the M8 screw, or 15 Newton meters if it's an M10, but that to me is definitely an M8, that's not an M10, so yep. So I'll chuck that in now, then that's done. Then what we're going to do is, because I've got that magic new transmission mount, first time I've ever put a genuine mount onto a car, onto a Mercedes. This is a revised W212 part, and it was made in 2022 on the stamp there. So that's going to go in. Yeah, so this one's the original. It says 06 on it, so it's the original transmission mount, which I don't understand because it's pretty smooth still. It really doesn't make sense. So yeah, we'll pull that old one out and put the new one in, and we'll compare them on the bench and see how different they are. Because if they're similar, I might keep it as a spare backup. But yeah, so we'll do that. We'll remove this cross member here to get that off. Sorry, not the cross member, but we'll remove the bolts. There's two here and two on the front of the mount. And then I'm also going to remove this hanger for the exhaust brackets, because this rubber seal in between usually goes crusty over time, and I've got brand new ones, so I'm going to swap one of those in as well, just so it removes any extra vibration through the drivetrain, through the exhaust system into the body of the car. team, so replacing these brackets. So you have this bracket here at the bottom, and you can see it's got this rubber piece on it, so this snaps over time, and they can also go quite brittle and hard. This one's still actually not too bad, but yeah, take that off. I stocked up on these a few months ago because, like, my E55's the same, it's also got a munted one. So that's the old one, it faces backwards, so new one here, team. Goes on like that, sorry, yeah, cool. And then it basically isolates those hangers in between. So you've got there are brackets here that go yeah, in between like that for your exhaust system, and then this folds over the top and locks it in place, and it gives you a proper, like, padded exhaust system to take as much vibration out of that as possible. So we'll put those in. I'll just give them a quick clean, and we'll install those back onto the underside of the gearbox up here, and I'll probably lift the exhaust just very slightly before I torque up the screws, so when I let it go, it's actually properly resting on those brackets, so it's not tugging on the actual exhaust manifolds or the other areas where the exhaust hangs on. Cool, so exhaust mounts back in, our new rubber seals in there, perfect, all solid. Our new transmission mounts in place, 50 newton meters on those big bolts, 28 on these small ones, so they're all locked up and secure. Now we just need to fill the gearbox up, and then we can continue with our work. So yeah, making progress. Right team, so the diff oil is done. Lined up both bolts, torqued them back up again. Bit of brake cleaner to clean any residue up. But yeah, we got quite a bit out. It's probably got definitely a litre and a bit in there. So I took out, ideally you should drain the whole thing and replace the whole thing with fresh fluid. But at $90 a litre, I'm just gonna do 1 litre for now. And this stuff is pretty black, so no one's ever, I don't think, ever done this. But it's not that dirty if you look at it there. And it's not full of glitter or anything, it's pretty clean. So that's good. It smells sort of, it smells like sulfur and rich blah. Yeah, it doesn't smell good, put it that way. But there's no metal, diff's clean as, mate. Yeah, not perfect. So the diff's real clean. The new fluid, if you saw it, it's like water, it's like clear. It's a very light, very, very light yellow clear colour, so it barely has any sort of colour to it. But anyway, that's cool, so that's done. Now we'll refill the gearbox up. So I'll hook my filling tool up, fill it up with fluid, and then we'll pump it in. So the first thing you do, team, is fill it with 6 litres of fluid. I'm going to put about 5 in to start with, and start it up, let it warm up till about, sorry, I tell a lie, I will put 6 in because the torque converter is empty. Fill it up to about, warm it up to about 45 degrees Celsius. So we do that with the computer scanner. You can also use an infrared heat gun, which I do have, but I'm just going to use the scanner and do it that way. Then once it's at 45, we turn it off, let it cool down a little bit. Well, not cool down actually. We add another few more litres. Then we turn it back on, run it through park and drive and things a few times, then we're basically undoing this and letting it drip out, and as soon as it starts dripping out we know the level's correct and we close it. So yeah, we'll start pumping some fluid into it, eh? Right team, so the car's back down. I just raised it up and put another 2.5 litres in. It says put about 4 in, but I drained cold about 7.5 and I've put about 8 point something in now. So I don't want to waste fluid just for the sake of it. So I think that'll be enough. If it was a bit low, I've put another 1/2 litre in, and if we drain that out, we drain it out. So it's fine. So I'm going to start the car now. Check the temperature again, it's 45, and basically run it through the gears, park, drive, foot on the brake, park, drive, put it into each for about 10 seconds at least. That's what I do anyway. Into reverse, into drive, into park again, and do the same thing again twice. Then hopefully you're at that 45 magic number. You come under here, you unplug the filler, it should hopefully be pouring out, and then you wait for it to stop pouring out so it's at a drip, basically just so it's sort of dripping, and then put your bolt back on. Then we'll torque it down and we're all done. If nothing comes out, then we don't have enough fluid in the system, right? So I'm going to do it off camera, but I'll update you in a sec. Right, everything's buttoned up, team. Just check 22 newton meters on the pan bolt. It's full of fluid. All the engine trays are back on. When you pull that, when you undo the filling device or you open it up to drain it out, it might pour out a bit. I probably poured out about 700 mils before it started dripping, so don't panic, that's fine. It's just draining the rest of the excess fluid, and when it starts dripping, it'll sort of look like it's dripping for a little bit, but until it sort of properly stops, just about to stop, and it's just dripping like doop 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 doop. That's when you put the plug back in, and I've done that, and we're all good. The last thing we're going to do today, at least, is the cabin air filter, and then we'll shift the other part to the end of this video, which is where we will do the what do you call it? I'm not going to actually do the power steering tank right now, team, because the fluid in there is the correct fluid. It smells fine and it's clean as. I'm not touching it. I'll wait till I give it its next big service when I then replace the tank itself. So for now, we're just leaving it. This car's got too much good stuff in it already. It's really well looked after. So, which is the first time I've ever seen a car with like fluids as clean as this in it. So, yeah. So yeah, what we're going to do is drop it down, do the cabin air filter. We're going to go for a drive, drop off the old oil. You guys can, we'll give it a little bit of a run and see what it's like with a new gearbox on the driveway. And yeah, see if our shifting is better. What I will do is I will just check to see if the Mercedes system tells us to reset the adaptions of the gearbox or anything, which it doesn't look like it does. No, drain oil, replace magnets, install auxiliary, full mat transfer. No. So, yeah, we'll have a look in a sec on the OBD, and we'll clear the shifting adaptions and just refresh it. And before I forget, I'm just going to quickly give the bottoms of the exhausts a bit of a buff, and then we'll move on to the backs as well. They'll take me a little bit of time, so we'll do those later. But if I can at least, while it's on the hoist, get just some of the bottom of these cleaned up, that'll be good. already a million times better. Someone's had a real good go at polishing it at some point, so there's some marks on it. And just the side as well, just underneath. So the hard parts are these parts here, the fronts, the tips, where you get a bit of the sort of soot build up. From memory, I just use a very fine sandpaper, like 1000 grit, with some water and spray it with the metal polish, and that does a good job at taking it off without sort of marring the surface, but just very softly. Don't go too hard on the sandpaper, because you will mark it, but just to get that sort of heavy layer off, and then you can polish the rest of it. And even getting into these suckers here, so they're like brand new again, is the way to go, because you see so many cars around and everyone's tips are like black. It's like, it just looks yuck. So just buy some metal polish and a bit of elbow grease and you're good as gold. Anyway, let's go for a drive. Okay. Right team, it's the following morning, and yeah, I've just cleaned the E55. It was a bit dirty, so I put her away because I want to enjoy this car for the week. I've just worked on the exhaust tips, so they're not perfect, but they're actually pretty good. I actually didn't need to use the sandpaper method I was talking about. I just got my drill bit with the correct attachment, with the fluffy attachment, sprayed it with a bit of water, sprayed the pipes with some water, and just went to town on them with the metal polish, and they've already come up pretty bloody good. They're not perfect, but they're a million times better than they were before. So if we look back here, yeah, nice. They're all four of them have got a nice sort of chrome shine around them. But yeah, still some imperfections, but we'll tie that up later. For now, we're going to do the carbon filter for the cabin air. So team, here is the cabin air filter in here. This one actually has a broken attachment, so it should go the whole way around, but you can see half of it's missing. So just a 10mm, pull it off, easy peasy. Don't lose that. And then yeah, it just sort of pops up. Now just be careful, so it's attached, it sort of sits on these teeth at the back here, so you sort of want to like lift it and tilt it up, and it should just sort of come out. Oh yeah, so it had a carbon filter as before. That's good. So they are more expensive. Not a good idea for me to do it on the flipping stones. Let's take it inside and we'll just replace it quickly. So team, we just popped this out. Now I actually can't remember the correct way to do these ones, but yeah, usually it's just involving just stretching out the plastic very slightly. Oh yeah, this must be genuine. It's oh, it is genuine. Damn. Okay. Yeah, 211-830-0018. That's a good filter. How old is it though, is the question. Is there a date stamp on it? I don't think I can see one, and I hate how the manufacturers don't always put them on. They just, yeah. It's been, yeah, I'm gonna say it's pretty old. Where the hell did where did that stamp just go I was looking at? Oh, damn team. Okay, yes, it's original. Awesome. That's good to see. But when I look at the date stamp, I finally found it. It's July 2006. Holy moly. So that's old. That's really old. Okay, and I've got the actual, another, and I've got an actual genuine unit right here, another one. So the direct replacement. Same look, still made by the same company, Micron Air. It's good, obviously these are carbon filters, yeah. And this one was made in 2022. Look at that. They look both, like the carbon filters already sort of look dirty. That is funny. Okay. So yeah. Wait, how does this go in now? I'm confused.
It goes this way. Wait a minute. Yeah. How come it looks... Oh, like that. I see. Yep, here we go. I was going to say, surely it's not the wrong size. What I am going to do, team, is just write on it. Just say it's noted in the future. If anyone... Not that I'll be selling this car, I can guarantee you that. I'll just put a date on it and then we'll chuck it back in the car. Cool, team, so the carbon filter's ready to go, and I just like to see the air conditioning impeller fan. So I'm just going to spray a little bit of oil on top of that. Just because it can like look a bit rusty after a while. Nothing wrong with that. Oh, interesting. Okay, so the ECU is down here. I didn't realise that. Interesting. Huh. That's probably not a bad idea either, I guess. I don't know how hot the ECU gets, but if there's airflow when you've got the air conditioning running, that's good. But yeah, so we'll probably end up replacing at some point the this plastic cover here. Again, you guys probably know how much I like things to be like mint, so if I see one at Pick Apart, a new cover, we'll grab it. Yeah. Right, team, so a couple of days later, only driven a little bit. I thought I'd do the fuel injectors first, and then we'll get on the road and have a proper drive, and it's given me a little bit more time to enjoy the car and just sort of understand it a bit more as well, so I can give some sort of better feedback and sort of where it's at. But yeah, for now we're going to get into the fuel injectors. So I've got the engine ready to go here. This is literally the first time I've dug into a 156. I've never touched one before in detail. So yeah, it looks all pretty easy, so let's crack on with it. Sprayed that a little bit. We'll pop that back in. It looks like there's a little rubber seal here actually. Does that come out or not? Because if it doesn't, I'll leave it. But if it does, yeah, it does. I'll give it a little quick clean gently with some cleaner, and then I'll Vaseline it and reinsert it, and then reinsert the MAF sensor as well. And I believe it went in that way, so the bottom was facing up like that. Cool. So you'd think there's only one way to put this in, but it looks like it can go either way, so just be careful with that. So team, clean the MAF sensors. On each side, the actual MAF sensor, one faces up, one faces down, so just make sure you keep that same alignment. It probably doesn't matter, but again, just if it's a certain way, keep it that way. One thing I've used is a bit of Vaseline and cleaned the little rubber seal in here, and then re-Vaselined it. I don't think you want to use any silicone spray near a MAF sensor, so don't use any other sort of spray that's got silicone in it. You can use petroleum-based like gels like this, and that should be fine.
So I'll put those away and we'll continue working on the fuel rail. But yeah, just be careful, because like there was a lot of sand built up around this piece here. So just give it a clean up and make sure it's all good to go. You can see a bit here. I'll give it a clean before I put it in again, but that's literally sand that came off the intake cleaner, the air intake cover. So yeah. So team pulled the air filters out and the intake's off. It's pretty easy. It's not much more harder than the 113K. But yeah, these filters, they're not bad. Well, no, sorry, they are bad. Yeah, they're definitely due. They're full of stuff, but they're not the worst I've seen. I've already mentioned it. At least it's got Hengst, which is good. So it's got good filters, but my 210 was the worst ever car for filters. It was literally like black and like crusting and falling apart. Yeah, so here's our intake manifold. $6,000 to replace if we need a new one at some point. I'm trying to figure out if I can tell how old this one is. So there's no clear giveaway straight away, but we will dig and find out how old it is. So we'll take the intake plenum off now. I am just very reluctant to lie on this paintwork on this car because it's so nice. So we'll steal the crappy old bed sheet, which probably isn't a good idea anyway because it's still got probably dust on it, but it's better than me rubbing against it. And there's just 2 tabs apparently on this plenum that we can access to get to pull this up. Right team, so I've put my little camera into the intake plenum, and that's one of the throttle bodies there. So, you know, I feel like this intake's been replaced at some point. It's just too tidy to be. Again, you're probably getting the wind because as usual here it's just a nightmare with weather. It's always windy and rainy, so excuse the noise if you can hear it. But yeah, so you can see on the camera here we've got one of the intakes towards the back, and yeah, a little bit of carbon build up on the flat, but nothing too bad. We're more interested in the plate, I think, itself, which is this piece here. There's not a lot team I can get here. I'm just holding it with my neck, but it's pretty flipping clean. I've just had a little look around. I cannot see any real bad corrosion. I sound like an old man. That's alright. Everything's pretty good. I wish I had one of those little tiltable cameras. But that plate, this plate here, like, to me, I think it's fine. I think there's nothing wrong with it. And even on the sticker on the back here, it's got the AMG sticker. You can see it there, the Pierberg AMG sticker. I can't see anywhere that it's got real bad corrosion. I'll keep looking a little bit more. But yeah, I think this has been replaced, and part of the reason why is I'm sure that when it says 10T013 on that part there, that usually means 2010 013, so like it's, you know, it's been replaced at some point. I'm just trying to see if there's any other sort of date stamps on these parts here. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to relieve the pressure on the rail here, which I think we can do on this end cap here, which I'll crack off. The engine's pretty cool now. Well, not cool, but it's definitely not hot, so that's good because we don't want to do it when it's hot. Yeah, our PCV or breather's just here as well, so I might just see what year that was replaced. And yeah, so that's all good, and we'll start disconnecting the fuel rail itself and pulling it out soon. But yeah, might just let it cool down a little bit more, even though it's pretty cool now. But yeah, what I'm also going to do is we'll throw those away. I've got the MAF sensors. I want to pull them out and just give them a quick clean, so we'll do that now as well. So I'll bring the covers over to the bench and we'll pull them out.
throw those away. So team, we've taken the bolts out. I've let pressure out of the rail, which there is none, which could be a sign that there are leaky injectors. Am I correct? Because if it was holding pressure, there should be some sort of fuel coming out of the system, and literally team, nothing came out. It would have evaporated anyway, but nothing came out. So that's interesting. Secondly, the injectors are original. They've got the 2006 date stamp on them. So they're original injectors that are nearly 20 years old, so they're definitely well due. And it does smell a little bit fuely in there when I get close up. And my smelling ability is pretty bad, but I can definitely smell just a little bit of fuel. So, but yeah, the current barrier is this vacuum line here. So I'm just going to quickly have a little squiz online on YouTube and just see how we carefully remove those without breaking them off. I've removed them before, but I've always struggled with them. So I just want to see if there is an easier way to do it. That's not risky, not going to give us any hassles. So be back in a sec. Yeah, these are going to be a pain to move, and I also don't want to snap them off. I'm worried if I pry on them, I'll snap them off the sort of soft metal. So I'm just going to leave them in place. We're going to pull the rail upwards and out just gently, and do it with the rail still in situ. It's not ideal, but it's just going to have to be what it is. So what I will do in the meantime is just carefully remove the harness connectors from them and disconnect the fuel rail, but I'll do that first thing in the morning. So yeah, we'll park it overnight. I'll have to roll the car out of the shed and continue with it in the morning. But that's all right. I don't want to open anything else up because I want to keep it all sort of locked and airtight before I fiddle with anything. Yeah, so in the meantime, before I wrap up and have dinner, and before we come to bed in the morning, I'm going to give this a quick clean up. I'll just give it a little quick detail. So you'll see on the sides here, there's quite a lot of dirt along the manifold. So to just protect it, we'll give it a good clean with some just standard cleaner here, and I'll just get one of my soft brushes like this, and we'll just agitate it, and then we'll wipe it off, and that should be a good enough sort of finish on it. But yeah, not a lot of room to work, but it'll be better than nothing, so let's give that a go. And even let's use a little bit of brake cleaner, maybe just clean up some of the oil around the valve cover here. Actually, we might chuck a new seal on this cap as well. Nice camshaft adjusters. But yeah, these seals often go bad, so let's also replace that while we're here, because that's what usually causes oil to leak out, is just the seal goes bad. I do have nice new oil caps, but this one's still good, so we'll keep that. So let's give it a bit of a clean up. Right team, new seal on it. Hopefully that stops the oil leak, or weep I should say, from that cover. Cool. So it's not spotless, but it's cleaner. That's cleaner as well. I'll clean this a little bit quickly, and yeah,
that'll do us for now, and I'll put this to sleep for the night. It's going to have to sit outside tonight, unfortunately, but it's alright. And then we'll come back in the morning, everything's ready to go, ready to pull the rail up. I'm just reluctant to pull it out now because then it's going to be sitting outside all night with all those ports opened up. So that's why I'm not going to do it tonight. So this can actually go in here and just cover up our friend here for the night. So no creepy crawlies get in there either, but it's all cool enough now, it's not going to catch fire or anything, so that's good. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Right team, morning. Car's sat out overnight, so let's crank her up and get the injectors done. She's got to do some miles today. So we've got the first injector out. So as you can see here, 156 part number, 28th of May 2006. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty dead set sure that's the manufacturing date, and that's the Bosch part number, since they're a Bosch part. But yeah, look at all the gunk around this tip here. It is so filthy, like really filthy. And this was one of the clean ones. There's some other ones in there that look pretty dirty. So yeah, these have literally never been done. So that's good because we're putting brand new ones in today. And the tip here, you can still see the four outlets are still clear, but you know, obviously there's stuff within this that could be fully varnished and gunked up. So what we'll do is I'll take them all out, give the rail a quick wipe. I'm just cleaning the little clips that hold them in place, and then we'll insert the new ones in. When we insert the new ones in, team, we'll put some Vaseline on this O-ring and this O-ring because we want it to seat back into the intake manifold nicely. So both ends should be Vaselined, just to sort of lube them up, and then they're ready to go back into the car. Yeah. So yeah, let's just continue. It's not a hard job, but yeah, just be careful as well of fuel spill because I had a little bit drop out on me. So team, we've got the injectors lined up to go back in. Put a bit of Vaseline on the seals, and here's our old injectors on the floor here. So most of them are pretty filthy, or they're all filthy really. They've all got a decent amount of carbon built up on them and varnishing, and they're all from 2006. They're all original units. The new units I've put on were manufactured in 2024, so they're brand new, recently manufactured, so that's good. So we've inserted them on, and make sure each clip, you can see there the square clip, has a little square notch that the clip should sit in between the injector. You probably can't see it on here, but yeah, I should probably video it off camera. But when you put these clips in, so there's another one down here, make sure you just up in here. Yeah, just make sure you line them up properly so they grip the injector and they are pointing in the correct direction. So they should all be facing the same direction, so the harness, the orientation of the harness goes in like this on each side, on each bank. On the other side it's the other way, it's coming from the back forward. Before you push everything down, just put your new zip ties in, so we'll re-secure the rail harness, the injector harnesses to the rail. We need to tighten this up, I need to tighten that up. I didn't end up really taking that off, to be honest. Yeah, and I've given everything a little bit of a clean up. So now we've got it all lined up. We can sort of just gently push it into place. Sorry, the sun's a little bit bright now, so it's a bit hard, but you can see, hopefully on camera, everything's into the correct position. And yeah, it's as easy as that. You just push down on it. Push down on that back one. Cool, that's seated. Push into the middle. Just be careful when you do push down, team, you don't when you do push down, team, just use gentle force, not too heavy, because if the O-rings got caught on the intake manifold, you don't want to tear anything. So just be reasonably gentle with it and just check that it's all good, and then we'll grab at our screws here and reinsert them into the magnesium head. I was contemplating whether to put something on these, but I don't know if there's any oil or something we should put on them to minimize the corrosion, but I imagine these are the correct screws to safely secure this to the head. Yeah, at the end of the day, we'll have to replace this intake manifold at some point, but for now it's good. Hear the dogs barking? So yeah, let's just get this anchored down, and we'll just do our zip ties up and keep just putting everything back together and cleaning at the same time. So team, we've got the engine all back together, and we're ready to start her up. I'm gonna, just for the sake of it, reset the fuel adaptation, the fuel injector adaptations on the computer, but you don't have to do that if you don't have the correct tool. You can just drive the car and it'll adjust. But yeah, so these are all back in and locked in place properly. Just be careful of this expansion line because they are fragile. We've also got the intakes locked onto their little nodules. We've also done up these bands here. Make sure they're done up and not loose. Make sure your fuel rail's done up, and yeah, make sure your Schrader cover's done up. Your fuel pressure sensor, I imagine that is clipped on. All the injectors are clipped on. So yeah, we're good to go really. Yeah, I'm really interested to see how much better it is, because those are the original injectors, and yeah, I just can't see it not being a much a different feel. The engine was already really good, really. Had the odd rough idle, or sort of not even rough, but just sort of slight lumpy idle sometimes. But yeah, as I say, I do think the injectors were leaking, because when I went to let that pressure out of the rail, there was no pressure, and it was only a couple of hours after I drove it. So yeah, definitely good to do them, eh? But they've lasted this long, so hey, they probably would have lasted still another 50,000 Ks probably, but it's risky. Yeah, so we're good to go. Let's get the computer hooked up. For some reason this car does not like my aftermarket scanner. I have to like connect as a CLK63 to get into the setup, which is a pain in the ass. But yeah, let's start her up. Just before we go for a drive, team, thought I'd share with you the camshafts that have been replaced already. So these are the old camshafts, the original ones with the car. Big suckers. Oh, you can look at my hand, like they're pretty freaking beefy. So basically the key thing with the camshaft are these lobes here. And they can wear down over time. But man, if I look at these ones, they're pretty good to me. Like very good. I would not even, like I can barely feel any form of lip or roughness on these tops of these lobes. This car's been very well serviced, is what I can basically say. I think these were replaced when it was about probably just under 100,000 kilometers, so not too long ago. This one, if anything, this lobe here has a little more just edging on it, and it's got like a little bit of a sort of like a spot, like a, I don't know what you call it, like a heat spot or slight discoloration up the top here. So I guess that one, and this one also has a little bit more sort of pitting at the top here, but nothing critical like you see on some of the other examples that you see on YouTube. Like they're in pretty good nick overall. Like if I pulled the valve covers off my car and saw this, I would not replace them. They are fine. They're like not worth replacing at all. These are good as gold. So anyway, they replaced them anyway. But you know, like, this is the thing, right? Is people are made to be scared of these cars, because of, you know, these issues they can have, these technical issues they can have. But you know, you think about the injector failure. You know, that's obviously a big one that scares people. But you know, we just replaced the injectors on my car that were nearly 20 years old, and while I still think they were slightly leaking, you know, they've gotten this far without being an issue. So you know, I think people do get a little too worried about these cars when they really shouldn't. They should just buy them and enjoy them and do the due diligence, check them out properly, take the valve covers off, check the camshafts. But you know, there's nothing really to be scared of if you do your due diligence properly. If you don't, and you just go and buy something and don't check it properly, then yeah, sure, you might find a car that's been poorly serviced and it's got rough camshafts, and then you're up for a couple of $1,000s straight away. But in this example here, like, this car's just a dream, really. It's very well looked after. So, you know, there's nothing to worry about with it, really. And you know, even if it still has the original head bolts, it's not using any coolant. I've done 2,500 Ks now, or 2,000 Ks. It hasn't used any coolant. There's no signs of head bolt issues. I'm not worried about it. Yes, they can obviously break and in an instant, but very unlikely. Usually it's more progressive than that. So anyway, let's go for a drive. So team, reset the adaptions. Managed to do that through the CLK63 menu. So yeah, just under correction learning processes, and there's no codes or anything. If we go to mixture formation, it's all there. I don't know honestly what to do. I think we'll just start her up and just see what happens. Everything was out of the way. Let's just double check that one last time. take a little while to crank over. That was definitely not the case. It cranked over straight away, so that's good. And as a precaution, I keep forgetting, I like to just have this right by me if needed. With its fuel system work, I might actually take it with me just when I go for a drive. Never be too safe. Pretty smooth. I imagine it'll take just a little while for that to sort of settle in as well, so that's all good. Cool. I've got the old camshafts here, team, from the last owner, and I'll show you, we'll have a look at, see what those look like. I haven't looked at them yet, but yeah, let's go for a drive. So team, driving in the E63, warmed it up out on the road. So we've done the transmission, we've done the fuel injectors, and yeah, those are the two key things we've done so far essentially on the car. So the rest of it's all stock, or as it was. And yeah, so the fuel injectors have made a difference, a subtle difference. I wouldn't say it's a massive difference, but it's a subtle difference. Like, as I say, the car was already running really well, but yeah, it feels it just feels a little more polished and just a little more smoother running. But yeah, man, it pulls hard. Like, it's different. It's interesting because it's very different to the E55, but it's still, they still do the same thing. They pull hard and are fun to drive. But yeah, the 156, it still has power low down, but maybe just not as much power or torque, you could say. Not as much as that shove you in the back of the seat sort of feel. What I'd summarize the cars with my limited experience with the E63 still is that the E63's a more refined cruiser that still has an extremely raw, aggressive feel to it if you want it, but it just doesn't have that unrefined mental sort of M113K feel. But the exhaust, it's weird, like the exhaust on this and the sound of it, it makes it more raw and you know, nutty than the 113K, but this at the same time also is more refined than the E55, as you'd expect being a facelift. It's just it's slightly more comfortable car to drive. And once I've done all the suspension on this and really tidied it up, I'm going to assume I'll even say that that's the case more so. But the E55 is still an absolutely comfortable, beautiful car to drive. There's no question about it, especially compared to any newer E-Class AMG. But yeah, I just wouldn't say it's like, yeah, it's interesting. I just wouldn't go to my way to say it's night and day. One, you know, they're both totally different cars, I guess, but they also aren't. They do share very close similarities, and yeah, I guess you could have one for one use and one for the other. It's pretty, you could sort of single them out if you really wanted to. But anyway, that's all good. I'm gonna go and grab something to eat and a coffee, and we'll just do some driving. We'll just do some, without me talking, I can't guarantee too much, but I'll try not to talk. We'll just do some nice sort of back road driving and a few little pulls where it's safe to do so on my driveway, and yeah. One thing I'll say is with the injectors, the car does idle a lot better now. It was idling a little bit rough, and obviously that can commonly be from, drum roll, fucking intake manifolds playing up. But actually, when I looked, well, you know, when we earlier in this video when we were doing the injectors, when you looked at the video, the manifold's very clean on the car, so I don't actually think there's a problem with it, which is good. So in the end, I think it's actually worked out really well, and the injectors were probably causing a bit of that rough idle. So we've got the car team in sport mode. So up here we get back up to 80k an hour.
We'll give it a little bit of a push just in sport mode, let it do its thing. I assume it'll shift down into first. Yep, cool, okay. So we'll just get lined up. Yep, foot down. And that's 80k already. So, you know, we don't want to break the speed limit, obviously, because God forbid we go faster than 80 kilometers an hour on a straight piece of road. But anyway, yeah, a little bit bogged down, obviously. Like, that's why I love to just have the car in manual mode, because you've just got much better direct control of the gearbox. You know, much better control of the gearbox. But if I use like the kick down switch, so if I haven't actually tried it yet, this is the first time. Let's give it a click. Whoa, okay. I wouldn't say that was the best performance. If you heard in the video there, it's sort of like applied power and then it like thought, oh, this isn't enough, and I could tell it wasn't enough. I was going to be disappointed. I was like, this isn't a good kick down. And you heard it jump back down a gear like into like 6,000 RPM. Yeah, I'm glad we did that gearbox change, because I hate pushing on a car when it's not in good mechanical condition. And even, you know, like the fuel injectors, for example, they're old, they needed to be redone. Yeah, they were old, they needed to be redone. The air filters were pretty dirty in the end when we opened it up. The transmission fluid was, you know, it was good as gold. It was perfect, it was fine. But at least I know I've got the exact right stuff in there now, and it even shifts smoother now, which is good. I remember when I sold my 2013 E63, which had the M157 bi-turbo, and I jumped into a E550 211, and that's when I fell in love with the 211 E-Class. I was literally like, this car is better than my, you know, I paid 75,000 New Zealand dollars back then, which was cheap. It was like 4 years old with 30,000 Ks on the clock. But you'll never find those deals again in New Zealand. And I sold it for like 55 or something, and then I paid, yeah, like 12 grand for my like E550, which again was cheap back then. It was 60,000 Ks on the clock, you know, like 40,000 miles, 60,000 Ks for like 12 grand, and it was like mint. Hadn't been serviced great once I dug into different things, but the car was from Japan. It was just beautiful, and it was just a Mercedes E550. It wasn't AMG or anything. It had the AMG Sports Pack, but I was just like, this is a fifth of the price, even a sixth of the price, and it's like better. I like it better as a daily car. It's better. And when I sold my C63, which was my first Mercedes, and I bought that 2013 E63, after the first day I had it, I was actually like, this engine's not right. It just feels like just doesn't have that same sort of power or rawness that the 156 had. And I quickly learnt, and I got comfortable with the 157 bi-turbo and loved it. It's an awesome engine. But I just remember that first day after I drove it home, loved it the night I drove it home, but then took it out for a run like we just have done now, and I was a bit disappointed, you know. So it's interesting. Whereas I hop in this again, back my second M156 now, and I haven't had one in 8 or 9 years, no, 8 years, and it's just an incredible engine. Like, the 113K is an excellent motor as well, but this has, you can really see the racing pedigree in this motor that you don't get in the 113K as much. The 113K is still a great engine, but it's just, you can tell it's a Mercedes engine, you know, enhanced by AMG, whereas the 156 you can tell is a proper AMG race engine. You know, night and day difference. And just the progressive, I don't know the technical term for it, but just the power band all the way from down at, you know, idle at 700 through to redline, it just feels so good the whole way through. The 113 is a good engine, but it does lack some of that. It just doesn't. The 113's a good engine, but it just doesn't take itself all the way through to redline like a 156 does. Yeah, so sitting here now, team, just pulled over. I'd say near smooth as silk. Not smooth as silk, but near smooth as silk. A lot better than it was the other day when I was giving it a bit of a run at idle. It was noticeably more rough. And not rough like misfiring, but just a bit more lumpy and not smooth. So no, that's really good. It feels really good. And it's got a nice little sort of backfire to it. It's got a nice little backfire to it. Back on 100k roads, which is good. Even though it feels so slow compared to when we're in Germany. Fortunately, a lot of people give their opinion and they haven't driven, well, they haven't owned both. A few of them have online, I can see, which is good, but there's also people that just jump on the bandwagon and just assume, oh, okay, because this guy said it's the best, then I'm just going to say the same as them, you know, like that herd mentality that is prevalent in a lot of things in life. But so take it with a grain of salt, but so far I'm glad I have both, because they both have their own strengths. But yeah, it might change. I'll do a proper review video, team, at some point, you know, maybe in several months from now, on both cars, and we'll get them both out and do a proper review of both cars together, which I haven't really done ever properly, so I'm going to try and do that. Do a video comparing both cars, you know, side by side. We'll go for a drive. I'll yap about them like I've done in this video, and yeah, because I'm happy to say I love the E55 more. I'm happy to say I love this car more. At this stage, I do like this car more, but again, it's a new car. Like any time we get a new car, we always enjoy it, and we want to drive it all the time. But once you sort of settle into it, that's when you start to go, oh yeah, actually I don't, yeah, I like it, but actually I probably like the E55 better, you know, so let's just see how we go. But anyway, team, that's sort of part one in terms of working on the E63. We'll start doing some more update videos soon and more work on it, but for now it's in good running order. I'm going to give it a bit of a clean up, get it on the hoist, and we'll keep doing some work on it, and I'll post another part with some further work on it shortly. But yeah, if you like the car, please like the video and subscribe if you want to watch more of these. But yeah, regardless, I'll be posting, but I would like it if you did subscribe, so if you haven't already, please do that, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.